Hello everybody, welcome back to the stream. I hope you all had a good Easter weekend. And also, the Alchemortis playtest is live again for Patreon members. So definitely head on over to the Patreon. The playtest will be live for Patreon members for 1 week starting today. So you can gain access to the playtest at any point by subscribing to either of these tiers. Of course, I hope you consider the top tier here, which will also get you a couple of nice perks like in-game Alchemortis credits, as well as the full game at launch. So this is like a pre-purchase of the game. And then, yeah, you don't have to support on Patreon, though, to join the playtest. The playtest will be live for everyone a week from today. But, of course, I do appreciate the support, and there's a couple of nice perks here as well. You can also wishlist Alchemortis. The playtest will be available on Steam for everyone just from the Steam page. So when it goes live for everyone a week from today, there will be a button here that just basically says join playtest. So yeah, leave your feedback in the Discord. The Discord is linked below. Also submit any bug reports there. And just like, yeah, generally what you like about the game, what you don't like. There's a lot of things that have changed. So I would love to hear your thoughts about all of those things. And finally, the other way you could support me is by purchasing my Udemy courses. Those are linked below. Every way you could support me is linked below. So I definitely appreciate all the support. Even something as small and simple as liking the video, following me on Twitch, all that good stuff. Alrighty. Hello, Clickertail. Welcome. Good morning. Good afternoon, Celestial Beagle. Good morning, Nathan. Good morning, Ninja Link. Good to see you all. So the playtest has been launched. I made a bunch of changes in the past couple days when I had time to work on it. I was busy for the most part during the weekend, but I did manage to get a good chunk of work done in several areas. Oops, that's not correct. Let me do something here. Okay. 1 second. Delete this. So we got a little bit of an interesting task to work on today. So I have, through Steam, you can launch Alchemortis in compatibility mode. That's just a way for supporting hardware that does not have Vulkan, for example. But compatibility mode has certain limitations. Some of the limitations are acceptable. For instance, particle trails are not supported on compatibility renderer. But I am running into an issue where I get these errors. Too many instances using shader instance variables. There's a hard cap of 4096 here. But the thing that's a little bit confusing about this error message here is that it's not 4096 instances, it's 256 instances. So basically, I guess in the compatibility renderer, or this may be true for the normal forward plus renderer as well, every time you use an instance uniform in a shader, it actually allocates 16 slots. So even if you're just using one, it's 16 allocated for that one sprite or whatever material you're attaching it to. So I can only have 256 items in the tree at any time that use instance uniforms, which is basically not, I can't do that because even in that unlock screen there, if there's 250 player cards or whatever, it's just not gonna work because all of these have instance uniforms as well. So yeah, that's the task for today, is to figure out how to work around that. I think the workaround is just to go back. So anyway, I'll explain all that, but let me show you the new stuff that I've done as well before I get into all that stuff. Let me make sure that there's not going to be any problems here. Hold on. So I updated the character select screen, which you will all see. So I've got character platforms here, and all these character platforms they have little decorations now. So this makes it a little bit nicer. And then I also updated the information that's shown here. There's a board now for these cards. And then the start button is new. So we got rid of that start node thing and just made it more of like an environmental thing like anything else. And the character runs up and then you go into your run. So that screen is still a work in progress, but that's what I spent most of my time doing last night. What else did I fix here? What else did I fix? Mark that as done. I enabled support for having a starting residue for characters, so characters can have starting residue / dust amounts now. I did a bunch of technical stuff to fix stack history tracking, so I can basically now I can determine how many stacks of something a specific card or allied cards applied instead of just checking against which board received the stacks. Fixed a bunch of bugs here. Added flavor text for all the characters. Fixed some more bugs, I guess. So yeah, basically just tightening everything up for the playtest. The major new thing that I did over the weekend was those character platforms that you saw, making that screen a little bit nicer. So yeah. Hello, D. Warnock. Could you please provide a new card list like you did last time? That was super helpful for tracking both player and enemy cards. Yes. Do I still have the script for that? I should still have the script for that. Editor scripts. Ability description exporter. No, that's not it. Did I really? Maybe I didn't save that script. All right, well, I'll have to look into that. But yeah, let me write that down as something to do. Export CSV of all cards. All items, I guess. Yeah, I will do that. Hello, Jacket Daytona. Welcome back. Good to see you. You're welcome, Ninja Link. You're welcome. All right, so let's fix this compatibility issue. So the problem with this compatibility renderer is that instance uniform problem. The problem is, though, that, yeah, I'm basically going to have to do a bunch of stuff to get around that. But the reason why it's a problem is because it just, like, a lot of visual effects stop working when it exceeds that amount. So if I go to unlocks here, well, let's see, actually. So anyway, suffice it to say that bad stuff happens if I get this error. A certain shader effects will stop working. And I kind of shot myself in the foot because I was like, oh, instance uniforms, that's cool, I'll use those. And then I didn't think about that maybe having a negative effect on the compatibility renderer. So I'm going to have to go back, like basically undo the work that I did. So it should be a little bit of a fun adventure to resolve this. And then the map nodes, yeah, so I've got this tool here which Claude gave me. So this just prints out everything in the tree that's using a custom shader or a particle effect, and it tells me how many instance uniform nodes there are so that I can kind of estimate that. So there's only 13 here, but again, the problem is that the limit is 4096, but each time you use an instance shader uniform, it's counting as 16. And the way I found that out actually is there's this GitHub issue where somebody opened this, and then one of the maintainers, or I don't know if he's technically a maintainer, but somebody who contributes quite a bit to Godot at least, says that each sprite using instance uniforms allocates an array of 16 uniforms. So you can only have up to 256 sprites on your devices that use per instance uniforms. So that's unfortunate. So we're going to have to address that. I'm trying to think of what I want to do for this. I think I'm just going to have to duplicate all these. So we'll try here because this is the thing that can trigger it for sure. And I can still use instance uniforms. I just can't use that many. So I think it makes sense to address the place where it's being the most problematic, which is in the card rendering server here, because the cards have a bunch of materials, especially this turn indicator material here. Actually, where is that being used? That's a good question. Canvas item, okay, create turn indicator, canvas item set material, turn indicator RID, turn indicator material get RID. So wait a minute, does that mean that I need to... Let me look at this. Card turn indicator. Update interpolate progress. So I reworked this a little bit. So I'm deferring the creation of a lot of these materials until I actually need them. So previously when the card was created, the card node was created, it was creating all of those materials in here. But a lot of those materials may not have been necessary immediately upon creation. For instance, like the enchant effect. That's only necessary when we actually have an enchantment. So this ensure enchant effect will basically be called in update visuals if the card has the enchantment. And so it's only going to be created on demand the first time that it needs it. And then there's some conditionality here to check, you know, if enchant effect RID.is valid, then it will, you know, it will handle the case if it's not been created yet. So I think I'm going to do something similar for the card turn indicator. Now, this is going to become especially useful because I guess I don't know how heavy of an operation duplicating materials is, but basically the approach we're going to take is we're going to get rid of the instance uniforms. We're going to get rid of the instance uniforms, and then we are going to use normal shader uniforms and see if that helps. But in order to do that, I actually have to duplicate the material. Otherwise, they're going to be shared by reference. So that's why I wanted to use the instance uniforms. I was like, oh, I could just use the same material reference and then just change the instance uniform. But that apparently doesn't work, at least for the compatibility renderer. And then I have a problem here where, you know, all these map nodes, these were registering uniforms through these particle systems. So if I have 300 map nodes or 250 or whatever it is, there's 500 particles nodes being created, which means 500 particles materials. But the vast majority of the time, those are not going to be needed. So these need to be created on demand, basically, instead of present always. So that's going to be the next thing that we do, but we'll see. Hello, Emerson. Welcome. Hello, Asymmetrics. Welcome back. Good to see you. Thank you, Snubbill, for the IDR 10,000. It's very much appreciated. Thank you, thank you. With the message, Yummers. Hello, hello. Hello, Junie. Welcome back. Good morning, RN Genesis. Did everyone who's a Patreon subscriber get their Steam key for the playtest? It looks correct on my end, but I have obviously no way of making sure that the email actually landed in your inbox. So, yeah. Hello, Dagan. Welcome, welcome. My day is going well so far. How are you doing? I saw the email, but I haven't had a chance to try it yet. Okay, good. Good. All right, so let's do this turn indicator first, and then we can think about deferring the creation. I was thinking maybe... Where is this clear RIDs called? In notification pre-delete. That makes sense. So I may actually move the card turn indicator into here, but let's just fix it first. Because the turn indicator, again, that's one of those things that actually doesn't need to be created until it actually is needed. So I may want to defer that as well, but let's just see if we can fix this. So firstly, I need to go to my turn indicator. Is it this? Instance uniform float progress, right? So we're going to change this to a uniform progress. Like so. And then we have the card turn indicator dot tress here. This should be copy UID. So that should be F3I0 is the end of it. So that's up here. Yeah. So we got the turn indicator material. Turn indicator material dot duplicate as shader material. Then we're going to do turn indicator material dot get RID. So we're going to duplicate that there. And then my card turn indicator, this is going to need to change. Progress. Canvas item set shader. Now I forgot how to set the shader parameter. All right, I forgot how to do that. Do I need a reference to the material? Maybe I need to do it through the shader material instead. Maybe that's it. Set shader parameter. Yeah, maybe that's it. So well, that's unfortunate. Okay, maybe we will move this then, so I could store that material. Tier indicator texture. Oh, not tier indicator texture. That's not right. Turn indicator material. Okay. Does this extend ref counted, I hope? I think so, right? Yeah, extends ref counted, so I shouldn't need to manually free that, which is good. We don't need this here. So we're setting the texture to start. But then what we'll do in here is we will set visible true. What we're going to do is we're going to if visible ensure material, private void ensure material. If material is not equal to null, we're just going to return. Otherwise, we're going to set the material as equal to this. Duplicate rendering server. Am I storing this RID in here? Canvas item, yeah, canvas item RID. So canvas item RID, material.get RID. Perfect. Okay, and then we can do material.set shader parameter, shader progress, %. Okay. So hopefully that is good enough. So that actually won't create the material now, or it won't duplicate the material until what? Until I'm actually in combat. So if I go to my unlocks here, hey, look at that. We don't have that error being shown anymore, but I still want to, I think at least for the cards or the items here, I probably still want to just remove the instance shader parameters from that, because the cards are going to be the most numerous thing. So I want to keep the instance shader parameters available for me to use elsewhere. But the cards, you know, there could be hundreds of cards in the tree at once. And so those are going to be the ones that most quickly contribute to that instance shader uniform limit. So you got yours, I mean the email, awesome. Good morning, Chris. How you doing? Rookie Tookie, welcome, welcome. Good to see you. It's Alchemortis Playtest Day. I can't wait to hear what you guys think. Hopefully we'll be able to get this done relatively soon as well. I'm going to undo these things, I think, but let's just see. Yeah, I actually don't think I want to save. Well, we'll keep those in place for now, but we have to handle the map nodes separately, I think. Anyway. Okay, so this is not being a problem necessarily anymore, but it's still a good idea to go through and get rid of all those instance uniforms and just duplicate them as necessary. The duplication, since this is happening sort of like in a deferred manner as well, this should be a lot nicer. Return there. Okay, var material is equal to alchemy material.duplicate as shader material. We're going to say okay. Now we're going to do material dot. Actually, before I do that, I should probably, well, it doesn't matter. I should make sure that that turn progress actually worked. I didn't actually test that. Fortunately, I don't have time to play test until end of day. That's all right. You've got a week to try it before anyone else. I guess releasing a playtest on a Monday, you know, it's probably not great for the people that work. But that's all right. It's all right. All right, let's see if this turn indicator works. So that seems to still work, so that's good. I feel like I'm hearing music, but maybe I'm crazy. Okay. So that approach is going to work. So we've got the alchemy material now. So I need to go to my alchemy material, whatever that is. Can I search by UID? In here? Nope. Card alchemy. Oh wait, maybe it does work. Oh, it does. Very nice. Okay. So we got to go to the shader here. We got to get rid of this instance uniform and just do uniform noise offset. Okay, so that should work. Alchemy material. All right, let's do the debuff material now. I'm going to do the same thing. Actually, did I do the alchemy correct? Yeah. Okay, so that's the debuff effect. Enchant material. I think did I already do this one? No, I didn't. Yeah, that's right. Okay. So let's go to the enchant material shader now and make sure that this works. Card enchant effect. Get rid of this instance uniform there. Okay. And then we should have one more, right? Legendary material. All right. Good. Okay, so this actually shouldn't be used anymore. You can get rid of this. This was just for debug purposes, really. Okay, so that should go a long way in fixing that issue, but now we gotta check all those things. Oh. All right. So let's add item Phoenix. We also need to add item lead ingot. That's going to give us the legendary that we need. So we can check the alchemization shader as well. Perfect. Okay. So that's working. Oh, why is that? Oh, that's not being created in the right order. Oh, that's going to be a problem, probably. Okay, let me try something here. Card rendering server. So I think I need to create the canvas item in the proper order, but I just won't assign the material until it's necessary. Oh boy, we gotta do this again. This is why we test. Oh, card rendering server here. Okay. All right, so we need to put all this stuff back. So create. Okay. So create background, create legendary effect, canvas item, create debuff effect, canvas item, create alchemy effect. So I need these to all be in the right place so the rendering order works. I'm sure I could change the rendering order on the fly, but I don't really feel like managing that. I'd rather just have it in the correct order from the beginning. But we won't do any of the material creation until we actually need it. So we're going to keep this ensure legendary effect. But we actually don't need this anymore, and this is going to become create legendary effect canvas item. I think that's right. Yeah. We're going to do private void, create enchant effect canvas item. This is going to go away. We're going to do this. Okay, so we got ensure enchant effect. So I'm actually going to need to change these two because that's going to be creating a new material every time. Which means I'm going to have to store that because there's no way of like getting information from the rendering server. Okay, well, shoot. That's fine. We will figure it out, I suppose. Create alchemy effect canvas item. Okay, we get rid of this now. All right, so what else am I missing here? Oh, this needs to take... Wait, am I storing the border mask? Oh, I am, so I don't need this at all. I don't know why... Yeah, I don't need to pass that in at all, actually. I'm storing the card mask as well. So this doesn't need to be here. Create legendary effect canvas item. I don't need that. And create highlight. I don't need that either. Okay, so we're back. We're back in business. But now I need to make sure that these aren't being duplicated many times. So what I may do is I may create a dictionary. Do private read-only dictionary, RID, shader material, or we could just do plain old material. Canvas item to material. And now in the ensure, and where we have an ensure method, we're going to say canvas item to material dot try get value out var material. If canvas item try get value out var material, we're going to return. Otherwise, we're going to say material is equal to that. Oh, this, I guess this should be a shader material. Okay. So if we already have the material, we're going to return. We're going to make sure to do alchemy, or we're going to do canvas item to material. There we go. All right. So same thing here. Unnecessary assignment? What do you mean unnecessary assignment? So wait, should I just... Why doesn't it want me to do that? Contains key. I guess that's fine. Okay, and then when we go to clear our IDs, I'll just do an extra little step here, which is I'll do canvas item to material.clear just to make sure we're cleaning up everything, all those references. Okay, all right. Let's give it another go. I think I remember you saying you instantiate your UI each time it pops up. That's correct. May I ask why? I'm about to get into UI for my game. I was wondering what the benefits were. I mean, I think just generally my approach is that I prefer doing a recomputation of everything instead of managing like cached state. Because if you just get the current state of whatever you're doing immediately when you need it, and that just does like a recomputation or like a rebuild of the data, that's just a lot more reliable, because you don't have to worry about stale state. You don't have to worry about handling all the cases where the state could be updated. If you just build everything with the correct state the moment you need it, I just take that approach as often as possible, because then I'm guaranteed that whatever state I'm trying to capture or represent when I click this button, I'm guaranteed that that's going to be up to date, right? And I don't have to worry about, making sure that, I have a UI that's like always in the tree, but then I got to make sure that it's always responding to like any state changes that are happening. So like if I kept this unlocks menu in the tree the whole game, I have this new unlock indicator, right? Which tells me when I've unlocked a new card. So that being in the tree means that I have to detect now when an unlock state happens and make sure to update just that part of the UI so that it has that unlock indicator. But it's easier to just rebuild the entire menu, grabbing the unlock state when you rebuild it, and then assigning those unlock indicators to the proper things. And so, yeah, I do that all across my code base. Like when I need data at any point, it's just like, even if there's kind of like a heavy calculation, it's just grab the data, just calculate everything I need right there. I don't deal with like a whole lot of cached data at all. I will do that if I need to for some reason, but I just always prefer just like gather up the state on demand that I need. It's just, I think it's a lot less bug prone. There's a lot fewer side effects that way. Hello, the Mad Dog Project. Welcome. For static UI, prefabs are good since they will be less expensive to create. However, anything dynamic you want to do at runtime. Yeah, I think... Yeah, I mean, you should obviously have like your UI scenes or whatever. Like, I'm not programmatically constructing all this, obviously, but when it comes to putting all the cards in the list here and managing their unlock state, whether they should be hidden or not, it's just easier to get all that information right when the scene is instantiated. At least, in my opinion. Well, I won my first real run. Awesome. The game was fun. Glad to hear that. Glad to hear that. We have our first confirmed playtest victory, everybody. Can we get some claps in the chat for the malicious rabbit being the first in the world to beat Alchemortis playtest 4? An inventory type thing should be a runtime unless you can fully predict it, which in most cases is a pain. Yeah. There's a clap. Thank you, Jack. Oh, I'm realizing now. Wait. Why was my... oh, was my window not focused? Oh, maybe that's why. I was like, my tab key isn't opening the alchemy here. All right, let's make sure this all works now. Okay, perfect. And we've got the alchemy shader now. So I want to add a Phoenix as well and make sure that's still working. Add item Phoenix. Okay, let's make sure that this debuff material is working. So that Phoenix is going to go... okay, the debuff material is working. Oh, but it didn't get cleared. Oh, son of a biscuit. It's permanently exhausted? Oh, that's not good. I think that might be an unrelated bug. All right, well. Gotta love when you're trying to fix a bug and then you notice another bug that's completely unrelated. Phoenix can become permanently exhausted, probably due to deferred debuff application. So I think I know what's going on there. I think I just hit the perfect storm of situations there. So the Phoenix applies exhaust in a deferred manner, which means that our exhaust works like this generally. So whenever something applies exhaust, it gets applied at the end of the turns being processed. And the reason is because, I mean, that's just like a quality of life thing. So that if exhaust is like the first ability on your card, it doesn't prevent the execution of all the remaining abilities. So whenever exhaust gets applied, it always happens after the item has executed all of its abilities. However, I think there must be a situation where if you exhaust, but the combat ends before that deferred exhaust gets applied, the combat end flow handles clearing all of the debuffs off the cards, but if that exhaust is not yet on the card by the time that code runs, and then it gets applied after, I could end up in a state where I'm purely, just like purely stuck. Now, what's interesting though is that it should clear if I win another combat, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, this will be a good test because then that would kind of confirm my suspicion. So as long as it's on my combat board and I win another combat, it should clear at this point. But maybe not. If I can actually win the combat. Oh, I did. No, it didn't clear. Huh. I do have some errors. Oh, you know what? Wait a minute. I guess I do have some issues here. Maybe it's just, maybe that's not a problem. Let me think. I mean, it could be a problem, but it looks like the card turn indicator. Let's just do this. If material is not equal to null, we'll just make sure that that's correct. We'll update the shader progress here too, to the current percent. Maybe that's actually not a problem. Let's see. Did I update everything? Yeah. Okay. I've got a number of things to fix. Look at all those collapse. Welcome, Cyborg. Good to see you. Alchemort's playtest speedrun any %. There you go. Posted another small bug in the feedback channel. All right, I'll take a look at that. Thank you for posting those. So the way that the playtest is going to work is I will not be adding any major new content to the playtest, but I will probably fix a lot of the bugs that you all mentioned, just to make sure that it's a good experience, you know. And I also just like to generally stay on top of bugs because, you know, number one, it's good when I'm playtesting to not have a buggy mess so I can actually accurately evaluate how the game feels. But the other reason is, you know, sometimes a bug that arises reveals a flaw in your system that could have effects on other parts of the game too. So it's just good, I think, to fix those things as they come up. So you're always kind of like, you know, keeping everything as nice as possible. Okay, so that worked. So I got to make sure that that still may be an issue, or it could have been, I guess, because it maybe threw an error. Maybe that's why it was just permanently broken, but I actually don't know for sure. So I'm gonna have to test that some more. But the material is working, so that's good. Okay, so we got this. Too many instances using shader instance variables. So I think the next culprit is probably the clickable control. But let's just get this all staged and ready to go. So card enchant, card alchemy. Oh, did I not update? Did I not update the legendary shader? Let me make sure I actually did that. Legendary material. I don't remember if I did. I probably didn't. Yeah, that needs to go away. Or that needs to be replaced. I think we've got 4 things, right? Legendary, enchant, debuff, alchemy. Alchemy, enchant, legendary. Oh, did I not do the debuff one either? How did I not update these? Debuff. Make sure to fix that as well. Yeah, get rid of this. Okay. Let's just give it another try then. So that should clear up quite a few instance uniforms as well. Hopefully. So unlocks, that all works nicely. We'll make sure that the Phoenix still works, and we'll also do add item lead ingot. Okay, we got no errors. That still has the exhaust on it, so we'll see if that works with the debuff material. Well, it killed it too fast. I couldn't actually see it. That's okay. Stop killing them so fast. I think it did work, but I just can't tell. Wow. I literally can't tell. It's killing them too fast. Okay, all right. I think it is working. I think it's appearing for just a little bit, but how is that possible? I do have a tier 5, so maybe that's why. Come on, I just want to see this work. I'm pretty sure it's working. I think I saw a couple of frames where it was working. Oh my gosh. How? Do you have plans for mobile? Will you test on a Steam Deck? I think it represents only 1 to 125 users. I do have plans to test on a Steam Deck, yes. Mobile, no, there are no mobile plans right now, but we will see how that goes. Okay, it's working. Perfect. All right. Finally confirmed. And we've got no errors here. Unlocks menu. Everything's good. All right. Okay, all right. So let's make sure to commit all those things. Card debuff, run manager, map node, card legendary effect, card debuff effect. Okay, remove instance uniforms related to cards. Okay, so now we have these map node problems, which is what I'm going to address next, but let's push those there. All right, so the map node is going to be a problem here. I need to get rid of these particles and probably just instantiate those on demand. Let me just actually reintroduce them and see if they're going to be a problem. I don't think I want to save the approach that I was taking here, so I'll just take this, discard those 4 files. Okay, so now if I go into the map, I may see this instance uniform issue again. Oh, I didn't. Interesting. Oh. Can I go to my log? Is it in here? Yeah. So all these materials, but there's only 13 using instance uniforms, so maybe that's fine. So what is 13 times 16? That's going to be the question. That's 208. So I've got 13 nodes using instance uniforms. I mean, I guess that's actually fine. I can have 256 nodes using instance uniforms. So everywhere else where I'm using an instance uniform is probably okay. So the next culprit to remove instance uniforms from would be from my clickable control. I'm trying to decide if I want to do that though. I mean, I might as well. So the clickable control, it assigns a material to whatever its clickable target is. So these are clickable controls. And when I hover over the clickable control, it assigns that outline shader to it. but it also does the outline radial animation. And the outline radial animation, that's the thing that has the instance uniform, because that's controlling the progress. And then this is also a clickable control with the instance uniform there. So I think it may be a good idea to remove the instance uniforms there. I guess the map nodes aren't so much of a problem, actually. I probably do want to just not have to instantiate all those nodes every time. So that may be something that I want to do. I'm actually not sure if this Phoenix bug is real now. I'll look into it later, but yeah, I think the clickable control is a good one to fix. So I just need to use instance uniform sparingly, but the good news is now it's not breaking anymore, because originally it was just breaking immediately on startup and like all my shaders were broken and stuff in the compatibility renderer. So I think that's fixed now, but let's just give myself some more headroom by reworking those clickable controls as well. 1 in 25 users on Steam Deck. Gotcha. Looks like it would function well as a mobile game, but just curious. I mean, it could function well as a mobile game maybe, but I think, you know, maybe those, yeah, maybe it's 1 in 125 Steam users have Steam Decks, but I don't know if that's a very useful number, because I think my hunch is that certain genres of games have higher Steam Deck user counts than other genres, right? So I would imagine that the kind of games that fit into like a Balatro category, where they're very like lightweight, easily playable games, I would imagine that there's a higher portion of people who are playing that kind of game on Steam Deck versus something like Crimson Desert or whatever, right? So I don't know if the 1 in 125 is useful. I think you have to kind of think about it in terms of like what genre is your game in, because like Alka Mortis is a perfect candidate for playing on the Steam Deck, and so I'm operating under the assumption that maybe a disproportionate number of players are going to want to play Alka Mortis on Steam Deck compared to the overall proportion of Steam users who have a Steam Deck, right? But I'm just pulling those numbers out of my rear. That's just my hunch. But again, it's like I want controller support in the game anyway, so supporting the game on Steam Deck is just a matter of making sure there's like a Linux build, which actually isn't even like strictly necessary. But basically just having controller support makes it Steam Deck compatible, because I already have a Linux build as well. So it should be fine. I'm going to add controller support to the PC version anyway, and that's just going to automatically make it good for the Steam Deck. Okay, I need to take a quick break, but when I come back, we will work on getting those instance uniforms out of the clickable control, and yeah, it should be fine. I think it should be relatively straightforward, just going to require some testing, and then I'm going to need to push that build out to the playtest, because right now if anyone tries to play with compatibility on, if for whatever reason, because their machine doesn't support Vulkan or whatever, the game is just going to be fundamentally broken from all the visual effects and stuff. So we'll get that fixed, we'll get that pushed, and then we'll figure out what else to work on. So I'll be right back in just 3 minutes and we'll continue on. All right, I'm back. Let's figure out what we're doing here. 1 second. All right. Okay, all right. So let's go to the clickable control. So this is using outline radial material, canvas group outline radial material. Material to assign. If instance valid, outline target and material to assign is equal to null, we're going to do canvas group outline dot duplicate as shader material. And then we're going to do dot duplicate as shader material there. Okay, so now we have this material to assign. Perfect. Let's invert this. If not is instance valid outline target or material to assign is not equal to null. We'll return this. Then we can get rid of this. Okay. All right, so now we just got to change these. So shader parameter, shader progress here, this is going to become material to assign dot set shader parameter, shader progress, set instance shader parameter. This becomes let's just add that extra check in there. We'll do material to assign, set shader parameter. Okay. This one needs to be, we need to tween the material to assign. That's what I was looking for. Okay. So now we got to change the shaders here. Outline radial. This one, this just becomes uniform progress. And then this one. This one will become we can make these uniforms here. So I actually need to look for object screen position, object screen size. Object screen position, where's this being used? Oh, that's right. Okay, that's fine. Shader progress, just make sure that this is being used correctly. Shader parameter progress, this is shader parameter. I think. Oh, no. Parameter. Shader progress. Okay. All right. Let's see if that works. So that should also dramatically reduce the number of instance uniforms that I'm using. Should give me plenty of headroom now, where the remaining places where I'm using instance uniforms should be just fine. So if I go to my game.log here, let's take a look at this. So yeah, we went down from 13 to 8, which is fine. So I have a limit of 4096, so 8 times 16 is going to be far less than that. But now, if I have a lot of clickable nodes on the screen, so for instance, if I were to do project settings, Game debug, we'll do debug fog reveal radius here to 300. So that's going to basically enable every clickable control. And I shouldn't see any errors here at all. So yeah, we are good there. That should hopefully do it now. Hopefully the compatibility renderer is just going to work now since I'm not using all those instance uniforms anymore. We should probably just hop on over to the forward plus renderer as well and make sure I didn't break anything. Remove instance uniform from outline shaders. Okay, let's switch on over to the forward plus and just make sure I didn't break anything. Hopefully it's fine. Hello, column cut. Why make a clickable control instead of using buttons? My clickable controls wrap sprites, that's why. And I want to be able to outline the sprite. So the clickable control is just a control node that can accept mouse events like a button, but it has special functionality designed to make it so that way I can do an outline shader when I hover over something, right? So it is acting like a button in the sense that it detects mouse enter, mouse exit, also click, but it also handles the visual effects of showing like that white radial outline that gets animated. And that works for either canvas groups or normal sprites. So the reason why I'd want to use a canvas group is sometimes I have groups of sprites that I want to be all outlined as a group. And so like these character platforms here, these are two sprites together, but they're under a canvas group. And so the clickable control handles the canvas group case and outlines all of those things together as a unit. So yeah, that's the reason. I mean, it's basically just a custom button, but the Godot built-in button stuff doesn't do what I want it to do, so that's why I had to build a custom one, basically. And the clickable control, it's just a reference rect. Like any control node can detect mouse enter, mouse exit, mouse pressed signals. A button is just a type of control node that has specific styles for those types of events. But any control can be a button if you're brave enough, basically. Oh, interesting, yeah. So I think I'm feeling pretty confident in those changes. That should fix the compatibility renderer. And I'm not getting any errors either, so that's good. Okay. All right, I think we're good. So I might have to do some more testing. I don't want to push a build just yet on that, but I do want to do some more testing. This run manager, I don't think I need to do this anymore. I think that was useful, but I think I have a pretty good handle on that issue now, so I'm actually just going to go to the run manager here and remove this bit of code. This was basically just iterating over the entire scene tree and finding nodes that had materials with instance uniform in the code. But that is definitely no longer necessary, so we can remove that. Cool. All right, I'm going to get this merged over to master very quickly. We can discard this. Reload from disk, that's fine. Okay. All right. So we are good to go with that. That's a pretty clever way to get this kind of thing working. Yeah, I think so. And the other nice thing too is that some of my clickable controls have odd areas. So if I look at grow board container, so this one, the problem with control nodes is that they're rectangular, right? So the clickable area is always going to be rectangle, but you can see that the bounding box around each of these clickable elements, they actually overlap with 2 other bounding boxes. And so there's a weird situation, which is like, if I click in here, like in this part, which one is that actually going to click on? Is it going to click on this one, or is it going to click on this one? But what you can do when you implement custom controls, and I think you can do this for buttons as well, but I'm not sure, is I'm actually supplying a polygon, which is the clickable area, basically a click mask. And what I can do in the clickable control class is I can override the has point. And that basically is a Godot internal method that you can override, where Godot will call this method to determine if the clickable control, or if the control node should actually receive the mouse event, like the click event or whatever. And so if I don't have a polygon area, it's just the bounding box. It's just the position and size of the rectangle, right? But if I do have a polygon area, what I can do is I can transform the mouse point into a local polygon point and then determine if that point is in the polygon. And if that check passes, then my mouse is in the area. And if it fails, then my mouse is not in the area. So what that means is that if my mouse is here, even though my mouse is within the bounding box, it does that extra polygon area check and says, nope, it's not inside the polygon area. So none of the mouse enter or exit signals or click signals are going to be handled at all, because Godot says the mouse is not in this area, is not in this clickable control. So that's another thing I can do, is like, that would be a little bit harder to do with buttons, is I can define irregular shaped clickable areas. And yeah, and that all happens through my clickable control. Like, all I need to do is just say, here's the polygon mask for it. And that just gets picked up automatically. That click mask idea is super useful. Yeah, you should have seen what I was doing, how I was handling that before I figured out that there was a has point method that you could override. It was kind of a mess, but I figured it out eventually and did it the right way. I feel like this is prime content for a full YouTube tutorial video. Yeah, I could. I mean, I have a lot of stuff. I actually have a video that I need to finish editing, which is going to serve as the next Alchemortis devlog. But man, I just don't have enough time in the day. I don't have enough time in the day. Anyway, I actually don't know. I actually don't know if it's possible, like this Phoenix issue. Now that I'm thinking about it, I may just delete this because actually don't know where it's clearing those things. Base card. Clear buffs. Reset all state. This is happening where? On combat ended, which is happening where? On combat ended. That's happening when I emit. Combat ended. This is happening inside of my run manager. Queued combat handled is happening where? Turn manager. Emit queued. Emit signal queued combat handled. Right. So I actually think this is wrong. So that deferred debuff application in the Phoenix, or in the base card rather, this happens at the end of executing all of its abilities. So it's not happening on the next frame. It's just happening at the end after all the abilities have been executed. And it's guaranteed that all card abilities are going to be yeah, so it actually will stop executing abilities if the life cycle is ending, which means that the first ability that kills an enemy just stops this loop basically. But this deferred buffs to apply runs after. So basically, this whole block of code, this execute abilities, is guaranteed to finish before I try to reset any buff state. So I actually think this is not, that error that I saw must have been related to those other errors that I was encountering. So I think that's fine. Like, I don't think there's any way for a card to become permanently exhausted with the current way I've got the life cycle set up. So yeah. All right, let's investigate this tutorial issue that the malicious rabbit discovered. So let's do this. Game debug. We're going to turn off suppress tutorial. And then I'm going to go to my necromancer character. And I'm just going to turn his health down to 1 so I can try this. Nope, starting health 1. So there's an issue here, and I can read it again. Let's see here. I went into the first combat, lost, regained health by sacrificing cards, won the combat. I believe it said I gained plus 15 dust. So let's see. So let's go to the first combat encounter. Let's just skip this for now. Go to the first combat encounter. Go here. Drag items onto my board. Okay, so then I click the start here. I will die because I have 1 health. Okay. You may resurrect with 1 health. Oh wait, I can't win this now. Oh. I did not think that through. Oh wait. I'm just not thinking, sorry. I'm not thinking. I have cheats. Okay. So let's just die. I died, oops. I can sacrifice some cards. Okay. And then I put this on the board. Claim your treasure, okay. Oh, I see, okay. So yeah, I didn't get any dust, but it is triggering. Now that you have some items, we can do some alchemization. So there's a step missing, which basically says you need to gain dust by selling a card. So I think I just need to, I think I just need a step in between that step where it says open your inventory to alchemize and like sell some cards here. I think that's what I need. That's probably what's missing. Never enough time to do all the things, yeah. Come to think of it, wasn't a bug, it's just confusion from being new. I'm not sure exactly what I saw. No, you're right, it is confusing because it doesn't prompt you to sell anything first. So it just basically doesn't take into account the fact that you don't have any dust. Yeah. I think that's what caused the confusion. At first I saw something that I thought was getting dust, but it's probably something else. Then the tutorial acting like I should have dust, right? No, it's definitely confusing. So the bug report is 100% valid, and we will go ahead and fix that. So the question is now, do I want to actually add a state that tells the player to sell something, or do I just let the player figure that out and then trigger the alchemy state after the player has sold something? That's fine. pre-alchemy. So I think pre-alchemy is the one where it says, now that you have some items, we can commence alchemization. So we can add a new tutorial state here. So enter state alchemy. So we want to do something like ordered states.add new tutorial state, and then we want to do something like id state id dot cell enter state cell entry condition. I'm just going to let the AI figure that stuff out. Okay. This should probably be not is drawer expanded. Completion condition, entry condition. Let's do completion condition, currency manager dot residue is greater than 0. Entry condition, is map idle and completed states contains state ID pre-alchemy and context.drawer UI is drawer expanded. Okay. Ordered states. Cool. All right. So now I need to go here. Let's put this in the right order. Public const string cell. If I could type, that would be great. Enter state cell, await timer, context, set anchor, drawer UI, inventory toggle button. We've got player board. Do we have a reference to the inventory board? Actually, how am I doing the inventory? Let's see. I may need to expose a reference to that cell board. Oh, player. Do I not have a reference to the player inventory in here? Oh, I can access it. Okay, player inventory. Let's just expose the cell board there. Okay. Set anchor, context drawer UI, player inventory dot cell board. And we'll set an offset of 18 times, oh wait, let's do 4 times game constants dot tile size dot x. Set look at anchor, player inventory cell board. Before alchemy requires dust as in alchemy requires dust. And then this state alchemy we probably want to add and currency manager dot residue dot has residue alchemy container dot cost. Where did I find? Okay. This is a little bit of a mess, but that's all right. I could probably just move that into my game constants as well, but we won't enter the alchemy state until the player has the cost that they need. So this might be enough, but we also need to connect to a cell. Do I have like an item sold player inventory? Let's just put a signal in here, public delegate void item sold. Well, let's use card. So then my tutorial guide here, we want to do game events dot instance dot connect to item, connect to card sold on reevaluate. Okay. This needs to be state cell. All right, let's see if that works. Also, is there ever a state where you get to grow your board twice in the same event? Yes. Yeah, so so I think the obelisks need to be made a little bit clearer, but the obelisk will buff every node type that you chose. So if you chose to get a grow board event, what the obelisk will do is it will buff it and let you grow it an additional time. But that's not super clear. So I'll definitely have to make, I think I want to do a pass at like the obelisk stuff. Definitely want to do a pass at the obelisk stuff, but you know. Okay, so we defeat their forces, yada yada. Add item, God mode. Oh, I just had an idea for a character. What do you think of this character? It actually gave me an idea. The character starts with 1 health. And an artifact that like buffs shielding or something. That would be kind of cool, actually. Can I make a character work that has 1 health? Let me write that down. Insert list before character ideas. Let's do brittle skeleton. Skeleton has 1 starting HP, lots of dust, and an artifact that massively buffs shielding / applies or grants immunity to effects that bypass shield. Something like that. Ooh, okay. All right. Anyway, we'll do that later. So we go here. Oh, the problem is I already have dust though. Now that you have some items, we can commence alchemization. So So the problem is I already had more residue than necessary, which is good. So this state is going to be skipped and automatically marked as complete if I have more than 0 residue. So that's good. I like that it skips that state, but the problem is I need to test to make sure that it's actually working correctly. Do any enemy cards have true damage? That would end the run for the character pretty quickly. Yes, but like I said, I think that character would have an artifact that like makes it so that anything that should bypass shield doesn't. So like Holy would no longer bypass shield, true damage would no longer bypass shield, so on and so forth. So it'd be like a shield build character basically. Like you've got 1 health, but we're buffing the shield capability so that, or the armor capability, so that things that typically bypass armor no longer do so, right? But we also have to consider too, like there are ways to upgrade your health too. Like you're not going to be stuck at 1 health, right? Like you could get the health upgrade nodes and build your health pool back up, but just starting at 1 health I think would be kind of interesting. And it may not even necessarily need to be the case that, because the first region doesn't have any item types that can bypass shield. So the first region has no poison, it has no healing, and it has no true damage. So I could get away with just like buffing shield and not doing the other stuff that I talked about. All right, so now we should get the ability to, so it should say open your inventory. Open your inventory. Oh, I need to flip that text, I think. Should probably add another condition there too. To alchemize items. What's in my context? Okay, we'll just add that extra condition, so we won't display this unless the player has the proper cost and the player has more than 2 cards in their inventory. Well, let's do this. Plus CTX dot. Man, I don't have a way of getting this. Let's just do this. On inventory state updated. Okay, so we're just going to do this. So we're going to do inventory board dot get car dot board inventory component, get card count. So we'll update that and we'll say and plus inventory card count is greater than 0. All right. And this needs to be alrighty. Let's give it another whirl. An interesting suggestion. I'm playing as the courier. Oh, spoilers. So I'm not supposed to heal. However, I take health upgrade. Note I healed to mag. Oh. Yeah. That's probably correct. Well, the cat is out of the bag now, everyone. But that's okay. I was expecting that to happen. Okay. Thank you for sharing that. Cat was out of the bag when you showed the character select screen. Yeah. What spoilers? I didn't see anything. All right, well, we'll just stop talking. I mean, there's plenty of people that is. I mean, once the playtest is out in the wild, like, yeah. But, you know, it's whatever. I guess I'm not very good at keeping secrets. Guess I'm not good at keeping secrets. Sorry to anyone that wanted to see that without spoilers. I think maybe once I get closer to release, I'll probably just start silently adding a bunch of content, and if that content shows up on stream, then fine. But I think as we get closer to release, I'm gonna stop like mentioning all the things that I've been adding content wise, so that there's some element of surprise for people that have been following the development for quite a while. So, you know, we'll still do content on stream and stuff, but the content that I do off stream, I'll just like, I won't explicitly mention it. Didn't know it was new, had too strong of a first run. Yeah, there you go. All good, all good. No worries. Okay, that seems to be working now. Okay, I think we can say that that's good. We definitely don't want to keep this though. We discard that. Okay. Add extra tutorial step explaining selling. Cool. All right. That's good. That's fixed. Okay. We might as well address this map node particles thing. That's going to help with performance a little bit, I think. So let's go to the map node here. These blessed particles and modifier particles. Let's save this branch as a scene. less particles. I think that's fine. So we'll save that there. We're going to load this as a placeholder. And then let's save this branch as a scene modifier particles. And then we will load this as a placeholder as well. If show as GPU particles 2D. We don't need to do add child there. Tween action. This needs to be true. Tween action. Stop! I'm trying to do an indent. Okay. Modifier particles dot emitting equals false. Let's do old reference is equal to modifier particles. Now we need to do the same thing here. Okay. Now we have to see if that works. So that should just reduce, hopefully, those shader materials a little bit more. Don't need those particles in the tree at all times. Okay, let's make sure it works. So those particles should clear after we finish that event. Good. Now what would happen if I had multiple? Okay, I think that'll work, yeah. So if I try to call set show blessing effect multiple times, it's just going to say I already have a blessing effect, so we're not going to do anything. Yeah, that should work. Cool. All right then. Excellent. Cool. All right. Maybe we'll just make sure again that this works with the compatibility renderer. Oh, that's interesting. It didn't ask me to restart the editor. Let's see if it saves that compatibility mode when I restart myself. Okay. So for those of you who may not be able to use Vulkan or because of your hardware or whatever, a compatibility renderer should be working now just fine. I hope that's the case. I'm a little bit nervous making this big change, but we could do it early in the playtest so that if any issues come up, I can fix that. That'll work. Okay, it seems to be working. We don't have any errors in the console. Perfect. Excellent. All right. Let's get rid of this suppressed tutorial. Change back to forward plus. All right, cool. Done. All right, let's get those building now. (16.4). So get tag v0.16.4. What? Get tag 5. Get tag v0.16.5 test. Get tag v0.16.5 cheats. Let me push the tags. And that will kick off a new build of the game with all those fixes in place. And that'll be available. I have to promote that to the default branch of the playtest build, but a lot of those issues should be fixed. I think there was another bug in here too. Oh, okay. Yeah, there's a bug here. Artifacts are persisting after run ends, but are cleared. But are cleared when the run starts. So I'll fix that one as well. That's not a super big issue because they're not actually being carried over. So I'll have to figure out what's going on there. Finished a few runs now, and the only bug I've seen is that last one I put in the feedback channel, having fun with this. Not sure how I feel about being able to revive by selling items. Yeah, I think the revive mechanic is probably going to be something that I target next. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. I'm not exactly sure what to do about that. I mean, it is possible. Like, I don't want it to be the case that, like, let's say there's no revive mechanic and like when you die, that's it, the run is over. I think that's not, I don't know if that's such a good idea because, you know, sometimes, I mean, it's hard to tell in an auto battler what an enemy board is going to do, right? And so I do want the player to have an opportunity to see how they died and like reconfigure their board to be able to beat it. Now, one change may just be instead of keeping the enemy health at what it was, just make the enemy fully revive. So like the only opportunity you have to beat the encounter is by reconfiguring your board to deal with what the enemy just threw at you. That could be an easy change. Like you can resurrect whenever you want, but you know, if you did 50% of the enemy's health in damage and then you died and then you resurrect and you just do another 50%, maybe that's the problem. Maybe I should just reset the enemy health back to full. But then you get up in a situation too where it's like, well, if I don't have any options available to me, then I'm just resurrecting for no purpose. Like there's nothing I can do, right? So I think I need to figure out a way to limit that. I do like the resurrection mechanic generally as like a grace for encountering a board that maybe you weren't able to anticipate how it was gonna, you know, perform against your board. So I'm open to any ideas there, but yeah, maybe the resurrection mechanic needs some tweaking for sure. Okay, anyway, that's gonna be it for the stream for now. I gotta get to a meeting here. Oh, thank you for the 100 bits, X-Joke. Sorry, I'm just heading out, but playtest is going well so far. We've got at least one person who's already beat the game, so that's good. But yeah, it's okay. Thank you so much for the 100 bits. Very much appreciate that. But yeah, I gotta go. I have a meeting to attend at noon. I'm still finding references to cards. I will put them in Discord. Awesome. All right. Well, I hope you take care, everyone. I may stream later this afternoon, depending on how it's going. But if not, I'll be back at it tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern. So I hope to see you there. And I hope you all have a great day. And I'll chat with you in the Discord as you find stuff that's wrong with the game. So yeah, have a good day, everyone. And I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.